Welcome to the King's Podcast, the ultimate guide of film and television. Okay, this is my last episode. So that was not my last episode, but this is gonna be my last one. I'm disgusted with myself. So this episode was recorded in different stages of the week. So you will hear my mind going from different thoughts. And you will hear most likely different tones throughout this episode, like when it all comes together. And that is due to it be recording over different days. So as I'm recording right now, in this section that you are listening to, it is midweek in the first official week of May. There was a humongous rap battle that came to a head over the weekend that entertained a good amount of people. There was the Met Gala, which is a humongous, fashion event. A lot of people want to get invited, and the theme this year had to do with flowers, like a floral print. And at the same time, when you had like the Met Gala, there was the invasion of Rafah within 24 hours. And so it seems as if we as a society are living what only can be described as a Hunger Games times. We are really currently living through Hunger Games. And then you have President Snow on trial. And another President Snow, alternate President Snow, as I refer to them, because both of them are pretty much different coins of the same President Snow in the White House, that he's like spilling more lies the lies that's been spilled is enough for Pinocchio to grow and win an empire. So it's just it's an interesting time to be alive. Just sort of like watching everything unfold. And I think that's kind of where my mind is going, and I've kind of come to a decision. I'm kind of realizing that I'm going to take a step back from recording this podcast, because frankly, I just don't feel like I'm in it so much. So this episode is going to be a different feel compared to the other episodes that I have put out thus far. So I just wanted to give an update and just let everyone know that I appreciate their support over the past 4 years and over the past 3 seasons. This third season is most likely going to be... there's going to be a huge pause. I don't really see myself continuing this podcast this year. Even though there's great things, I'm really excited about wonderful things coming out. The Boys is coming back this summer, so is Umbrella Academy, and I'm going to be fangirling the whole time watching both shows because I love those shows. But I did kind of want to end the season. I feel it's fitting to end the season with Bridgerton, because Bridgerton has always kind of been like my comfort. I am a huge romance girl. I love romantic comedies and romantic novels, and I've kind of grown into them over the past 4 years. I wouldn't say I was so into them before. I was really more into horror and science fiction, and fantasy. Those were the genres that I gravitated towards. But I think after COVID, and especially with everything that's happened in the last 7 months that is going on within Israel and Palestine, and then you're looking in to see what's the news that's coming out of Congo and Sudan, and also like the lack of focus on those areas, and also not to mention Haiti. Oh my gosh, not to mention Haiti. So there's just a lot that's going on. I feel like because of all that is going on in the world, I don't really have the mental capacity to find entertainment in genres where it feels like that's what's actually happening in my real life. So I need to watch things that are so far removed from my reality, which is fluffy and pink stuff, because that's not how the world is right now. So that's what I need. Interestingly, when I first started recording this episode was supposed to be a review on the Amazon original film, The Idea of You. So that was kind of where I was going. And for whatever reason, I remember when I was first saving it after like the first day of recording, I didn't name it The Idea of You review, because that's what I do when I always like title my works what I plan on the titles being. But I just, for some reason, I couldn't just say The Idea of You. It just didn't seem like that's what this episode would be. So I think my subconscious was already talking to me, and I called it The End of an Era. And so I have completely scraped the idea of doing a review of The Idea of You. I recorded so many different takes, but none of them are going to make it to this episode. All I will say is I found The Idea of You to be a cute entry in the genre of rom-com romance, even though I feel like it could have had more elements that felt more rom-com-esque. It just didn't seem like it was funny enough for me to like label it as a rom-com. It definitely had its romance areas, and I felt like the chemistry between Anne and Nicholas was fantastic. And Nicholas is kind of having his moment right now, which is really exciting because he's an actor I've been watching for a few years. I'm a big fan of his work. And if you just look at the 5 projects he's done recently, they're all so different. Like, there's not really much. For instance, I'm also like watching Mary and George as well. And he's so different in Mary and George than he is in The Idea of You, and completely different in Bottoms. And even in Red, White, and Royal Blue, he's different in every single role that he has done. So I'm really excited for his career, because I have a feeling he hasn't yet tapped into his potential. He's given us a lot, but he hasn't really fully tapped into his potential. And I know he's capable of so much. I really do enjoy him as an actor. He's someone I look forward to seeing, and from everything that he's done, like, I'm a big fan of his work. I would love to see him do more comedic stuff, because I could tell he was having a ball when he did Bottoms. You can really see that he was enjoying himself while he was doing that film. So I'm excited for his career. But yeah, you can check out The Idea of You. And like, I wouldn't say I didn't hate it. I didn't love it neither. It was just like, okay, it was just something to watch, and you just enjoy it for what it was. I will have to say, like, he looked pretty good in it. Like, towards the end of the film, I've never seen Nicholas look that good looking. He needs to grow out facial hair, because facial hair looks really good on him. Yeah, he looked really good. I'm not gonna lie. And he was also in the Met Gala, and I really enjoyed his look. I mean, I know he could have given more. A lot of people saying it was basic, but I thought he looked really good. He looked really good looking, like, well put together. I mean, he wasn't daring with his fashion choices, but it is what it is. So, yeah. So where are we going with this episode? I really think this is just a transitional episode. I'm just going to say, hey, we're coming to a close, babies. We are coming to a close. And I just wanted to say the last point, just be very vigilant, everyone. Pay attention to the words that are being used, whether they're in your newspapers or your television screens or even in social media. Just be careful with the words that you're seeing being used and what people are saying or what people are choosing to say. And also, I think, guard your heart, guard your mind. This is a time that I feel is not, that we shouldn't be silent. I feel this is the time that we should be more outspoken. There's a lot of human rights that are being completely violated right in front of our eyes, and we cannot let them win. No siree. We have to be louder, more active than before, get outside of our comfort zones in many ways, and don't be afraid to ruffle a few feathers, So that's kind of what I will say. But at the same time, there's a lot of darkness and nefarious acts that's going on right now. So learn how to guard your heart and guard your mind. That doesn't make you weak from needing to take a pause and needing to take a break. Do whatever keeps you going. Do whatever keeps you going. In another timeline, I recorded an episode about my thoughts about Baby Reindeer. Fantastic show. Episode 4 was one of the hardest episodes that I had to get through in television. I won't say necessarily I would recommend it because it's a show that can be very, very triggering. And I feel not everyone can get through it, but it's an excellent show. And one of the best forms of media I consumed this year. In another timeline, I would have just talked about Monkey Man. Fantastic film. Fantastic film. I also would have talked about Love Lies Bleeding. So Monkey Man and Love Lies Bleeding were two of the films I saw this year in cinema, and I loved them. I gave both of them a 10 out of 10, in my head. I would have talked about them excessively in an episode in another timeline. I probably also would have talked about Abigail, which I thought was a bloody good time at cinemas. I would have also talked about the Netflix shows, The Gentleman, that stars the absolutely delicious Theo James, and is created by Guy Ritchie. I also would have talked about Love is Blind, the Swedish edition, which was so much better and more refreshing than the Love is Blind, the American edition. It actually made me wonder, should I move to Sweden and find myself a man? That's how it was when I was watching Love is Blind in Sweden. Love on the Spectrum, so wholesome and wonderful. That show made me believe in love and in the good in humanity. It actually made me feel like humans are not that awful. Love on the Spectrum. And I was rooting for everyone because as I said, I'm a big fan of love, so I just wanted people to find love. So all those, in another timeline, those would have been the episodes I would have talked about, but I didn't talk about them. But I'm just going to now just show you guys a clip of a recording I had done earlier on, but I just wanted to keep it so you can hear it. So in the next part, you're going to hear that part. And how people are being silenced. And the fact that just it seems as if there's so many people in the world who just don't give a flying, I'm just going to say fudge, I'm about to curse, of so many people who have died. Thousands of people have died. And I think it's because people just do not care about people who are Black and brown. Because the amount of suffering that I'm seeing that's going on in Congo, in Sudan, in Palestine, and it seems as if people just don't give, they don't care because these people are not white. And it gets so frustrating for me. and is so hard to kind of keep up and just be like perky and happy. And so that's kind of like where I'm coming from. So I just want to kind of give a little update about where I'm coming from, just to let you know that you probably won't be hearing from me for a while, and the 3rd season is going to be ending very soon this month. And yeah, that was just a little update. That was a clip from when I first started recording this episode, and as I initially said, like, I scraped 99% of this episode, and I just decided to keep that one in because I felt my emotions were true there, and I decided to share that with you guys. And so the next episode, as I've previously mentioned, just in case you weren't aware, will be the season finale of the 3rd season. And that is going to be Bridgerton. So you can check that out. I am going to make sure to try to get that to you guys within the first week of Bridgerton, my thoughts, my review. I'm going to be excited about that. I'm a bit nervous because a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing, because I'm very particular when it comes to like romantic comedies or romance in general, and some things have just like been like, they've just been okay. Like I saw Anyone But You, and I was actually, when I watched it, I was like, okay, because there was always this premise of being just like this raunchy romantic comedy, and I was like, okay, it could have been funnier, and it could have been a lot more romantic, I feel. And I'm actually kind of, when I saw it, I was kind of shocked at how popular it was, because it was just like subpar compared to some earlier romantic comedies. It was definitely nowhere compared to How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or 2 Weeks Notice or Bridget Jones' Diary. It was nowhere in that league of fantastic romantic comedies, or the earlier than days, like throwing it back to four weddings and a funeral, or even like Pretty Woman. Like if you're like going like backwards, it definitely wasn't like that. I think like one of the best offerings from romantic comedies I've seen like in the past 3 years or so was The Hating Game. I really enjoyed that one. And also Puppy Love. So, and Lucy Hale, I think her name was Hale, was in both films. And so those were like my favorite options. And also this like really lovely film that I think is on Amazon called Musica. I felt like that was a really good that was a really lovely addition to like the whole romantic comedy. I mean, it was like a different feel to it, but it had a lot of elements of like a romantic comedy to it. I'm not too sure it would have been it's considered a romantic comedy, but I thought that was a really good movie. So Musica, you guys should check it out if you can. So next time will be Bridgerton. So as I mentioned earlier, everyone enjoy your rest of your day, enjoy your week, and please be safe out there and take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope that my little podcast made you a little bit happy. If you have enjoyed this episode, make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you really love it, go ahead and share it with anyone you think may enjoy it as well. And I've got to go because the Wrap Up music is coming out right now, and I didn't really have time to thank all the people I had to thank, but gotta go. God bless.